you can notice there's an S there. Benoit. Okay. So Mr. Gabe Nowells, the CEO and founder of Valve Corporation, one of the largest online gaming company, is pretty upset about metaverses. He's upset because most people that are talking about metaverse have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. I hope that's not the case for us. At least we prepared and we visited several metaverses, and we want to tell you what we think about it. And especially, we want to tell you the reality of metaverses as they are currently. So first, what makes me think that I can talk about metaverses? Well, I have three passions in life: gaming, technology, and entrepreneurship. So that this is my official picture as the CEO and founder of System in Motion, an IT service company that I founded here in Shanghai. The black picture on the right side is my Steam profile. So I've been a customer for many years, and I've been a gamer for many years. And you can see my achievements, the number of games owned and completed. And as an entrepreneur, I'm involved in EO Accelerator. It's a nonprofit organization that helps entrepreneurs to thrive and grow their business. I'm a board member of the French Chamber of Commerce here in Shanghai, where I represent entrepreneurs and SME directors. I've been a mentor for many years for China Accelerator, early startup accelerator here based in Shanghai. And with Benoit, we co-founded the local chapter of La French Tech in Shanghai. Now, Benoit, if you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Stéphane. So I'm Benoit Raoul. As Violaine mentioned, I'm an alumni of Rennes Business School, and I'm also involved in the alumni of the school by managing the club for China for many years. So mainly in Shanghai, but I try to develop it in other cities like Shenzhen, Chengdu, or Beijing. So that's my involvement with the school. On the other hand, like Stéphane, I'm also an entrepreneur, and what drives me basically is to build know-how from knowledge. So we are trying to get a lot of knowledge. Knowledge is free everywhere on the internet. But what is harder to have today is actually know-how. So I'm really working on building know-how so I can share knowledge to people who want to build know-how. So it's really what is driving me. On the right side, you can see I started different companies a long time. So Jumo, Duno, Decuple, Fengi, and Gensaku are companies that I'm running in France or in Spain or in China. So I have those activities. French Tech is one of the activities that we developed with Stéphane together. You mentioned about it already. I'm also involved in EU Accelerator, and I'm also involved in a community called French Healthcare Alliance. It's a community of people doing French business in China related to healthcare. So this is something we've developed in 2013. That's it about me. We wanted to create this talk with Stéphane earlier this year because there is kind of this fear of missing out since Facebook changed their name into Meta. There are a lot of people that have been heard about that. The questions we had with Stéphane is the technology really mature? Is it the right moment to go for it? Should company invest into Metaverse now, or shouldn't they? And I compare that a little bit to the 90s with the internet. At the beginning of the 90s, some people were hearing about emails, internet, what shall we do? I had my first email in 1996. And at that time, there was the bubble effect happened at the beginning of the years 2000s. Was it the right time or not? A bit similar to this, we believe we are at the early stage of the metaverses, and we will talk extensively about it. So the presentation will go with an initial introduction about a couple of vocabulary that we want everyone to have to be sure that everyone understands the presentation. Then we will talk about gaming metaverses, commerce metaverses, and integrated metaverses before having a short conclusion. So first, there are a couple of wordings that are important for people to understand. The metaverse is what we want to talk about, but metaverse is lying on a lot of different concepts. Two concepts, blockchain and traditional technologies, are involved there. cryptocurrency, NFT, smart contract are important wording on the blockchain's part. And then 3D and VR, gameplay, persistence, and other traditional technologies that are also important to metaverses. In order to dive into some of those concepts a bit more, we have here a slide on cryptocurrency. The definition of the cryptocurrency can be pretty complex. The way I want you to remind it for today, it's the currency of those new countries, new places you can visit that are metaverses. So they are basically the coins that you will need to have to be able to pay some part of your services or items you want to buy in those metaverses. Same as if you travel to China, you need to have some RMBs to pay, or in the US, you need to have US dollars to pay. I want to introduce a little bit NFT, so non-fungible tokens. Many of you may have heard these words already. It's a horrible name for marketing, clearly. For people, they don't really understand what it means. The way I define it simply, it's basically a unique digital object. So in the past, we were able to copy MP3, we were able to copy pictures or JPEGs as much as we wanted. Now NFT will make those digital objects unique because they are owned by one person. There are more side to it than just this, but we can remind it. We can address it this for today, like this for today, like a digital object. Then, if you want to talk about metaverse, this is basically the slide where we can introduce the fact that we are not talking about what was defined by Neil Stephenson back in '92, or the concept that you can see in Ready Player One if you have seen the movie. It was the metaverse, the unique. There is only one space where all those universes are actually connected. As of today, we are not at this stage. Basically, what we can see today is different organization, different words that are available to us, and we can envision kind of every virtual environment around us as a metaverse. So for example, Zoom or Team today, or a chat or a Minecraft game or a Twitter feed could be considered as metaverses. So for the definition today, we put an S, and we will explore and visit different metaverse to let you know what is happening today. And basically, the conversion of all those metaverses into one unique space is a bit far ahead of us, certainly 3 to 4 years ahead of us, at least, to have something that is a bit more coherent. Now we will start to talk about gaming metaverses. And first, for each of those metaverse, I will present a little bit about the business model that we have identified in those spaces. And then Stefan will deep dive in one of the metaverse where he spent time to connect and experience for you. So first, for the gaming metaverses, there is two things that really came out for us. There is first, for a game that will have NFT in their concepts, there is a need for three important things. First, a good design, and we will talk about it a little bit after. This is important. It can be 2D, it can be 3D. There is different ways to it, but it needs to have a good design. A proof of experience. Proof of experience is something that is more and more important. It's just that you are participating to something and you own a proof of the time you have spent for that experience. And this is a concept that is more and more important in the NFT space. That is about the usage you will have with those tokens, and not just about owning the token for the pleasure of owning the token. And then, because it's a game, it needs to be fun. Otherwise, you are losing a big part of the concept there. We highlighted two models that are coming out of the space a bit more. There is the play to earn model. That is something that looks super magical, and we will detail that a little bit more. And there is the NFT card games. Here you have one of the concepts that is developed by the US under the US football. There are many different card games that appears based on NFT, and more are about real games and not just about collectible cards. So Stefan, can you tell us a bit more about your experience?
So I indeed went and played to Axie Infinity. So for those of you who know a bit business models in the gaming industry, it looks pretty much like a free-to-play game, except that it's a play-to-earn game. So what was the experience? So the first thing you need to do in order to play is you need to buy a few NFTs, and this is the first problem that I encounter. So the onboarding is absolutely terrible. I'm not going to go through every step, but it took a very long time to go and finally be able to play, which is pretty bad because you want as many users as possible. Whatever product you're selling, you want to sell more and more and more, and you want more users. So because of this issue, this game really can only attract people that are already what I would call crypto enthusiasts. So if you're somebody with zero knowledge of cryptocurrency, somebody who doesn't even know how to set up a wallet, doesn't understand the different cryptocurrency, doesn't know how to buy cryptocurrency, I think that person has no chance to go and come and play that game. So this is the first, I would say this is the first lesson about metaverses. Whatever metaverse project you have and whatever target customer you have, you must consider the overlap between your target customers and crypto enthusiasts. And if there is no overlap, I think it's premature to have to go and try to have a metaverse strategy. Second disappointment. So in order to play that game, I need to buy free NFTs. Because otherwise you cannot play, you cannot start playing if you don't buy these free NFTs. I had to spend 84 euros. In this day and age, for this type of game, if it was not for this presentation, I would never have spent 84 euros. Never, never, never. And for the level of fun, Benoit was talking about fun, it's really extremely expensive. And why is it expensive? Because it's based on that cryptocurrency. And when we prepared this presentation a couple of months ago, their coin was pretty high. And there were more people who wanted to come in than people who were there, and people were selling their NFTs. So that market is so volatile and fluctuating so fast that then the experience can be overpriced very quickly. You can say, okay, but that's a natural market. It will even out, and then things will be better when the demand and supply adjust each other. But there is one thing that is not going to change, is that I had to pay 35% fees. So because of that long and process onboarding, and because I had to transfer cryptocurrency from one chain to the other one, it cost me around 35% fees. And because this is a play to earn, I have to pay 35% coming in. And if I'm making any money because I want to play that game to earn money, because that's part of the model, I'm probably going to get 30% tax the other way around. So there is a model that they are trying to find that is not there yet, but that can be quite detrimental to the fun of the user or to the cost of the experience compared to what is already available on the market. Again, in the most predominant model that is today, that is the free-to-play. So for every metaverse, we try to give a kind of summary, a kind of scoring. We've established a scorecard. So on the graphic side, I've evaluated it as a 2D game, so I didn't compare it to a full-blown 3D model. The 2D game, it's not bad. It's pretty smooth. It's good. Onboarding, absolutely terrible. I gave it 1 out of 10 because only a crypto holder or somebody preparing a webinar will go through that pain. Fun for creators. So we'll see the other metaverses. There is space for creators. In this one, in Axie Infinity, there's no space. There's no space for creators because all the creation and all the assets are coming from the game itself. It's fun. It's fun for the player. Again, I compare it towards its target gameplay. I'm not comparing this to FPS or RFP or other games. Viability. So I have a big problem with Axie Infinity the way it's set up today. So it is a Ponzi scheme because players are making money by selling the NFT they spawn. And the only reason they can sell the NFTs is because more people want to come and play. So in effect, you're making money only when new people are joining the community. This is the definition of a Ponzi scheme. And there's a second reason they're in trouble. So I think it was two and a half months ago, there was a bug in their own blockchain, and somebody made out with the equivalent at that time of $800 million of coins. As far as I know, they couldn't recover those coins, but this made it obvious that running your own blockchain is not that easy, and it hurt them pretty much. And of course, their coins got pumped because of that. So as a result, they had a coin cap, which is the equivalent in the crypto world of the market cap for a company. They went from 3 billion to 800 million since we did that presentation a couple of months ago. And on the social side, I skipped that one. I give it an 8 out of 10. They claim 2.8 million users. So I couldn't verify the number, but every time I wanted to play, there was a player. There was somebody in front of me, which is really what you want in this kind of player versus player game. So I see there's a question in the chat. It was not gas fees. The fees are conversion fees from one, because I did my computation starting from euro, starting from fiat, all the way to NFT. And I had to convert this euro to Ether, Ether to wrapped Ether to their own, then I could buy the NFT. Every step of the way, there's a fee that is taken either by the platform or by the exchange. Every time I transfer, there's also a fee. So at the end of the day, when I compute everything backward, my euro invested resulted in only in 65 cent equivalent in terms of NFT. And of course, when I sold my NFT, I didn't make a profit, I make a loss, but I was still able to take some of that money out. At the end of the day, I paid way much more than I would pay for any game, even a AAA. I think it's more than Elden Ring, so that doesn't make sense at all. So that's it for Axie Infinity. Now we can move on to the second type of metaverse.
Yeah, exactly. So now we can move to commerce metaverse. So it's also one big part that people are interested in. We look at different model and we identify three key, I would say, topics there. There is the model of try before you buy. And one of the key people investing in this is IKEA. And they are using augmented reality to position furniture in your own home. So it can be perceived as a metaverse, and you can see what it would look like in your own environment to try this item in your ecosystem. The second one, we call it real life digital experience. It's a Walmart shopping experience. So it's an enhanced shopping experience if you want, but they recreated the reality. So they recreated a store where if you want to buy some milk, you go with your cart in the grocery store, and then you take with your avatar the bottle of milk and you put it in your cart. So when you put it in your cart, as you can see, you have some information, additional information about the product that you may not have directly in the store normally, but they have been recreating what we are used to as users just in the metaverse. And the last one, I call them NFT shops. So H&M is a good example of this. It's a large store, certainly larger than their flagship store they could build in real. You can see many wearable NFTs, so NFT that your avatars can put on as clothes. This is really popular these days. So you can go around in the shop, look at all the different NFTs that are available. This can also happen for let's say a museum that could display some NFT or art galleries. So it's quite common model that we can find out there. What was really astonishing to us to look at all those different models is that for none of them, there was a full good purchasing experience. So it was actually hard to buy something for commerce metaverse. So I think, Stéphane, you will detail that us a little bit more.
Yes. So we visited several metaverses, but we had to pick up one to present. So we pick up Crypto Voxel. It's been here for quite a while, and it's pretty popular. So you can fly in CryptoVoxel. So if you fly, this is what you see. Some of you may have heard the term land, where you can buy land in the metaverses. So you see those blocks, those kind of cubes that you see over there. So these are built on a plot of land. So when you buy land, you have a map, and by definition, you have a limited supply of map of those plots of lands. Otherwise, if they can create an infinity, then the price will go down to zero. So metaverses will define a certain number of lands. And then, depending on the metaverse, you can do several things, but most commonly you can build. So you can see here that different people bought these, or companies or people bought those plot of lands, and they built with some crude big blocks. They build those small houses, and because that's the term voxel. So voxel is a keyword in the gaming, especially in the 3D modeling. It means you're building stuff with big cubes, the way you see it. Yeah. So we're talking about commerce. So inside CryptoVoxel, what you want to do, you build that and you build your own shop. So on the left side, you can see something that looks pretty much, when you step into it, it looks like an art gallery. And then the first thing you will think as a user, actually that was my assumption, so this is an art gallery for NFTs. So I'm going to be able to go browse around and click and buy an NFT. No, you can't do anything. You can't click on it. You can't buy it. Which is why on the right side, you see in another place, in another small house that was built beside. This is why somebody else find that trick to put their, I guess, Ethereum account number that you can try to memorize and write down and type to transfer money to that person to donate. There's also a QR code that is a little bit more convenient, So the problem with this commerce model, so the same way the one that Benoit illustrated with those big brands, there's absolutely no journey that is built into this metaverse to sell anything. So you're buying a plot of land, but then you can't sell anything. So you will never make any money. And you have to go through these honestly ugly tricks. Thinking back about Benoit's comment at the beginning of the presentation about the early days of the internet, it looks really much like an ugly website from the 1990s, where people didn't really know what to do, and when e-commerce was not invented. So it's not there yet. There are other metaverses where you have a little bit more, and we'll see one right after, where it's like a half a buyer journey or a third of a buyer journey. But on this one, there's absolutely nothing. Yeah. So let's move on to the scorecard for CryptoVoxel. So the graphics are absolutely terrible. It's very slow. So I tested all those metaverses. So either in the app when there was an app, or directly in a browser when that was possible in a browser. So CryptoVoxel doesn't have an app. The only way you can experience it is through a website. It is extremely slow. The resolution is bad. Honestly, it just looks bad. It just looks terrible. Onboarding. So the only thing you need to onboard is a MetaMask. But again, if you've never bought any crypto, you don't have a MetaMask. And if you don't have a MetaMask, there's zero chance that you will decide to go and explore, and you'll need that curiosity at first before you're getting. So the onboarding is way better than Axie Infinity. It's way smoother, but it's still targeting crypto enthusiasts. Fun for creators. So once you buy a plot of land, you can assemble your house with those small cubes. So this is perfect for Minecraft creators because they've been doing that for years for free. And now they maybe can figure out to make money out of it. Fun for buyers. So the world is quite large to visit, but there is no buyer's journey. There's no integration. So you have those ugly tricks of having account names, account numbers, and QR codes. Viability. I think it's pretty low tech. That's why they must have chosen the voxel technology, because this is low tech, low storage, but they still need to improve a little bit the rendering and the speed. On the social side, there were few people that I could see. So there were other people inside that metaverse because it's pretty popular, but there were really, really few interactions. There's basically a chat, but I tried to chat with a few people and I never got any reply. Maybe they were away from their keyboard. And in terms of CoinCap, so they don't have their own currency. They're using Ethereum, which is the second largest cryptocurrency after Bitcoin. So they rely entirely on Ethereum. Problem is, again, we're talking about fees and barrier of entry. Fees are still pretty high in Ethereum. Somebody is asking about the recording. So yes, the conference is being recorded, and I think Violaine will communicate the way to access the recording. Yeah. So that was for commerce, illustration of commerce and or the absence of commerce. Now let's move to the third category of metaverse we've explored.
Yeah, we decided to go and look at what people call integrated metaverses, and there may be some of them that you have heard about. We decided to talk about Decentraland. And our vision here is we want to share it, and it's really maybe engaging myself here. I consider metaverses as operating system. So you are familiar to your, I would say, Mac environment or your Windows environment or your environment on your phone, might be Android, Google environment. This is an operating system. So you can see the metaverse as a new operating system, basically. You will connect to that space. And I believe people will go in the metaverse casually, like what we do, we go to the internet. You are searching for your next place to go on vacation, you can connect to the internet and go on platforms like Airbnb and find a place to go, or hotel.com. If you are going on the internet to play, you can find tons of games on the internet as well, also available. You want to go and watch a movie with friends, you can do it online as well. So the same way we are using this, we will be able to use metaverses to go. What is important in there that is changing a little bit is the profile. So your profile is an avatar, and I know Stéphane will talk a bit more about that because this is pretty important in this space. What it means for content creator, it will still be a good quality content war. So if you produce a game that is not fun or not nice, no one will play it. As simple as that. If you produce poor quality content, it will not work. So people that are able to provide good quality content will also be able to provide it in the metaverses. And what is also interesting is that now creator of content will have a way to get paid. So this is also something that comes out of those metaverses, is there is a way to pay the creators. So that's pretty important. Stéphane, you want to explain us a bit more about your experience in Decentraland?
Yes, so I visited Decentraland a few times. So definitely I would say the most, the highest level of achievement that we could find today. Maybe you ask yourself the question, why didn't we go to Meta? Because Meta doesn't exist. It's not there yet. There has been big announcement, but I think they're hard working at taking it off the ground. So Decentraland, from everything we've tested, is probably the most advanced. So on the left side, you can see the avatar I created. And you can see that there's quite a lot of choice. So these are all free. You can call them free NFTs. So they are free accessories that are available, and you can dress yourself up. And of course, you can buy some more extravagant, more advanced clothing. And this is part of the game. This is part of the fashion game. Decentraland has been playing pretty much on fashion. They have been having fashion week, fashion shows. So this is a big angle for Decentraland. Second thing, you can see that small robot that asked me to press space to jump. So when you got into Decentraland, there's a tutorial. So this has been in games for years and years and years, and they take really good care of having good tutorials. This is the only metaverse where I found a tutorial, helped me to navigate a 3D environment. The mapping is pretty standard. Now we talked about commerce. So because Decentraland is integrated, so commerce is also part of it. Gaming is part of it. Show, entertainment, and fashion is part of it. So at the bottom, you see two examples. So the first one is pretty subtle. So you can buy that pink panther. Yeah. So you know you can buy it because when you move your cursor on top of it, the cursor changes, and then you can click on it. The second one is a little bit more into your face, which is really fun because we're supposed to be digital. We're supposed to have everything new, and then at the end it's display advertising, and it has to be in big shiny white letters. Otherwise you'll miss it. And I have other pictures that I didn't share where it's even bigger and even more obvious. Click here to buy now. Yeah. But the problem is, so this is the first part of the buying purchase. You can say it's the interest phase, it's the customer showing interest. But then you're taken off Decentraland into OpenSea. So OpenSea is the platform that is used by most of the metaverses today to actually perform their transaction for security, integration, and for all sorts of reasons. But then it breaks the journey, because you have to be taken out of the metaverse to complete your purchase, and maybe you'll come back, but then you have that break of, I would say, that break of experience and that break of engagement. I believe that this is going to be fixed in the future. They're gonna address that, but so far, again, our promise is to tell you how the metaverses are today. This is how the metaverses are today. There is either no purchasing journey, or half a purchase journey, or maybe a third or half of a purchasing journey, but it's not integrated. We didn't see any in any of these. We saw a completely integrated and immersive journey. Now let's look at the other part. Let's look at the entertainment park and the gaming part. So when I went a few months ago, there was a Boy George concert. So the good thing is that when you get into the metaverse, there's a page. But it looks more like a web page, where you can see the events that are happening. So I saw there was a Boy George concert in Vegas City, and I went. So this is the picture just below. I went there. So there's a video and an empty room, and the video is playing. That's a concert in the metaverse. So there was probably an event on the launch on the first day, and there were probably more avatars. But when I went, there was nobody. There was nobody there. There was a proof of experience. It didn't work for some reason. I was not able to collect the token over there. Broken, part of the broken experience. And on the right side, two games. One game is a collector's game. So you have like meteorites are falling from the sky. You break them with a pickaxe. You get gems. Then you can buy a better pickaxe. And after probably 900 hours of gameplay, you can get a free NFT. Pretty boring, but still. The platform supports different games, and they're trying. The second one is it's called Ride the Dragon, where you have to jump on a dragon and go through an obstacle course. So there's potential there. There's potential for creativity. There's potential for interaction. There's potential for social interaction. So there are really a lot of things that are there that are, I would say, where we're waiting for things to sprout from it. It's not there yet. And as you can see in all these pictures, I was alone all along, but there were a lot of people connecting to the servers, and I couldn't find them. So I keep looking, and finally, I found that everybody was at the casino. So at the end of the day, the place that attracted users in Decentraland is the casino. There, every time I connected, whatever time of the day or night, there were people playing poker over there. Of course, they're playing poker with cryptocurrency, but this is the one place where I could find people. So that totally validated my hypothesis that I made at the beginning, that people are here because they are crypto enthusiasts. They're interested about money. They're interested about making a buck. They're interested about gambling, and this is where you find the target. And today, the audience you're going to find are going to be this type of users with this type of interest. Crypto money, gambling, which seems to be consistent in their persona, and this is where you will find them. And this is probably the reason they're going there inside. So in terms of scorecard for Decentraland, so first of all, in terms of graphic, it's pretty good actually. It's quite fluid. They're working. I couldn't try it yet. It was not working on my PC. They're working on a client, which should make the experience even better. But right now, even in a browser, it's working. It's working pretty well. Onboarding is good. The friendly robot provides a good tutorial. A lot of fun for creators. I think good 3D artists can really take out their creativity, and especially the whole point of the metaverse is to be able to create things that cannot be designed in the real world. So a pink banner is maybe one example, but I'm hoping to see even more things that are even more extreme, because this is where artists can express themselves. Simple gameplay for the games, a large world. There's also the entertainment part. They still need to work on it. There are probably events that are interesting, and they are going to have more and more. Half a buyer's journey. So interest, you click, you taken out in OpenSea, and then you buy your whatever NFT, and then you go back, and then you can wear it, and you can interact with it. So persistence is expensive. So they actually, this is not very clear actually. I did a bit of research. So they were using Ethereum at the beginning, but they also had their own cryptocurrency, and it looks like both, they're compatible with both. Mana, and they are moving to Polygon using another cryptocurrency that is called Matic. So Polygon has a lot of potential to reduce the fees, to be maybe less volatile, and a lot of projects are moving there because they've understood that volatility, high fees are deterrent for mass adoption of metaverses. So there are solutions that are being developed. But they're not. I think they're not there yet, and they're still in the middle of their migration. And on the social side, so everybody, so there are people, not that many people around, but I could find them every time in the casinos. Yeah. So we can, yeah. So we can move on to the conclusion. So the issues that we find in the current state of the metaverses. Yeah. So when we look at technology, we think, okay, technology is not mature, but this is the wrong conclusion, because as Mr. Gabe Nowell knows well, as everybody in the gaming industry knows well, gaming companies have the ability to create very immersive world, extremely beautiful graphics, engaging storytelling. There are more and more wonderful games that rival with top Hollywood productions. So so it's not that the technology doesn't exist, it's the technology is not used by the metaverses yet. And we try to understand why. So we think that the business model are not clear. So Axie Infinity, very successful, but a Ponzi scheme. They have to figure out a way to solve that issue. And it looks like from their blog, they're trying to find a solution, but they are kind of trapped in their success. Now that their coin have plummeted, maybe they will have that ability to pivot, but those business models are not clear yet. So because the business models are not clear yet, there's an underinvestment. Because the main reason Gabe Nowell is upset about the metaverse is that a lot of the problems the metaverse have, the gaming industry have solved for years. Massive multiplayer games like World of Warcraft, they exist. Great, the hardware can run entire universe, either single player or multiplayer. So the technology exists, but it's expensive. And when we look at when we look at the coin cap and we see 3 billion, that doesn't mean that 3 billion were invested in this project. Actually, quite the opposite. They were maybe they raised 50 million, 10 million, which is a low budget in the gaming industry. But then, because they want the early adopters to make 10 times, 100 times their investment, they had to continue growing the coin cap to 2 or 3 billion, and then for Axie Infinity, it shrunk to 800 million. Maybe it's going to bounce back. Maybe they're going to crash. There are a lot of projects that actually stopped because their coin didn't keep multiplying by 10 every 6 months, and then they couldn't attract fresh money, and suddenly they drop, and everything goes down the drain. So the cryptocurrency, the token, the NFT, they're actually part of the problem. You know, they are part of the problem because of volatility, because they create complex onboarding and high transaction fee. And the metaverse will not be. My belief is that the metaverse will never become popular and widely adopted as long as the cryptocurrency are at the base of the pyramid, and as long as those projects are only conceived on top of cryptocurrencies, or at least the way cryptocurrencies are today, and the way they are being managed by the metaverse company. So Benoit, if anybody is interested into implementing their own metaverse project, how should they do?
Yeah, so we came out with a small model. We decided to come with a conclusion that was actionable for some of you in the industry here. So we came with this 4 steps framework. One, we believe it's important to select emerging business model in your industry. So the creativity is an important part, but we don't believe existing business model in the current world will necessarily implement well in the metaverses. Like in the internet in the 90s, what really worked out are new business models that were not here before. So it needs to be tried, and you can look in your industry. Certain industries, like the fashion industry, for example, have already clear ideas of business models that are putting in place slowly. So you can look at those emerging models. Second point is to choose and select which metaverse you want to enter in. And it's actually a big topic because we saw different type of metaverses today, one that are voxel based, so really pixel based. For example, for fashion industry, how can you, for example, dress avatar with something that would be super detailed? It's a bit hard to have. Decentraland as a space that is more 3D, that is maybe more fitting for fashion. That's really a key point. And you need to also to select a metaverse that will last over time. You're making an investment. Some of those metaverses are dying. So you may have invested a lot of time and efforts into a certain technology, and then tomorrow it's not here anymore. So you have to carefully choose those metaverse. Then which cryptocurrency, which blockchain you are using to engage on with, so to mint your NFT, for example. So we have been talking about Polygon, we could have talked about Solana or just directly Ethereum. You need to choose also, you need to make a decision about this. And this is gonna be important. Some industry, like the art industry, for example, are really relying on Ethereum now. People believe that if it's on Ethereum, it's the mother blockchain, if you want, in a sense, for many of the others. So it's safe for long term. So if you buy art, NFT art, then being on Ethereum seems to be a good place. But for fashion, where they have to mint thousands of different T-shirts, like H&M could mint, going on other platforms like Polygon seems to be better, because then the fee to actually mint is really, really low. So different decisions to take at this level. When you have this solved, then you can choose different technology, finance, legal model that you need to have. So NFTs and metaverses are also linked with smart contract. So when you create something, you need to have and think about the legal questions, especially related to IP transfer. It's also important to understand that those smart contracts will not drive and protect your IP directly. You need to protect your IP outside of this. So NFT are not a way to protect your IP. So it's also important. So engage with legal when you are at this level. And then find a pilot project. What do you want to try? What is your goal? Do you want to build awareness? A lot of the NFT in fashion projects are a lot about PR, is to show and demonstrate that you are a big luxury brand and you are active in those space to attract usually younger user. This is important to understand what is your goal. So select your pilot project, make it happen, and learn, get the learnings out of it. So you will be onboarded, you will start to develop your own learnings, and then you can grow in that space. That space will happen no matter what. So you can decide to invest at different moments in the chain now, in 1 year, in 2 years, in 3 years, in 4 years, but it will certainly happen at one moment. So the moment your industry start to move in, you can start to build some learnings in there. That's it for the presentation for today. We can, so in the chat, you can ask questions. I don't know, Stéphane, Violaine, if we have questions more than the one you answered, Stéphane, already. We have another 15 minutes for Q&A, roughly. So feel free to ask questions. I think from now on, you might be able to speak if you want to ask directly question to us, or you can type into the chat room. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stéphane and Benoit. So as you said, Benoit, Stéphane already answered the question in the chat. So if there are new questions, please don't hesitate. So if you're a bit shy, you can use the chat box. I think that Julien is typing. I have a question while Julien is typing. Can you give us concrete cases or concrete examples, maybe?
Yeah. Thanks for that. So we worked on different real projects. I can talk about maybe two projects. One of them is in the fashion industry. It's basically related to wearable NFT, and to make the project concrete and to be able to move forward, we believed what is called phygital was the way to go. So phygital means that you will have actually a real piece of clothes and a piece of clothes for your avatar in the metaverse. So that project is currently in the starting mode. So what we have decided, because as I mentioned to you, we had to find first a business model. So the business model is wearable NFT and phygital. So this is clear. Then we had to decide for a metaverse and for some key technologies in terms of blockchains that we wanted to use. So the second one we decided to use, the metaverse, we decided to use Kula. Kula is a metaverse that is dedicated to fashion and concert. So it looks like to be the good platform for us to launch. It has a lot of Chinese users, and our goal was also to reach this young generation of Chinese users that are into this space. So we targeted this one, and we decided to use Solana technology to mint, because Kula is pretty close to Solana ecosystem, and Solana blockchain is also looking for some projects on their blockchain. So they are also somehow financing part of the project for the marketing aspect to their community. So it was also important in the overall project to get this involved. At this stage, we have solved all the technical issues about how to go in the metaverse, how to mint the different NFT, how to create the 3D NFTs. So all of those aspects are solved. They are about to start in terms of production. So that's the experience I can share. We seem to have solved all those problems. We will see in a couple of months now how to solve all of that. Another of the challenge in that project was actually to manufacture all the clothes that people will have. There was a little bit of level of customization on clothes, so we had to find ways to perform those customization properly. So that's where we stand, and this is a proof of concept for that brand that we are working on to actually have their first experience into the metaverse. So that's maybe one experience. I can quickly talk about another one related to sports. It's related to sports team to get, I would say, NFT games based out of cards in the football space, especially for China. So what is really important to us in that other project is the gameplay with the cards, so the usability of cards, tradable cards, tradable NFT has a pretty bad reputation in the football space. So we are trying to invent a new concept in that field. So I hope that answers a bit of your questions, Violaine.
Yes, perfect. Thank you very much, Benoit.
So there's a new question in the chat. I think I'll take that
Sure.
one, and if you want to add on it, Benoit.
Please.
So first, thank you. The first part is not a comment. It's this is a wonderful presentation. Thank you, Julien. The question is Web 3.0 and Metaverse the same? That's a great question. It's a tough question. So Metaverse. So let's talk about Web 3.0 first. So there are two ways to this word Web 3.0 is used for two different things actually. It's used to define the blockchain technology. So whenever you look for Web3 packages, if you're into development, the Web3 packages are the packages of the underlying technology of the blockchain. Yeah. So this is, I would say, this is the technical definition of Web 3.0. This is where Web 3.0 is used in technology. Now, in a more, I would say, techno-social aspects or even philosophical one, the term Web 3.0 is used for the complete and ultimate decentralization of the web. You know, So it goes this way. People thought that the internet was great. The internet was free. The internet was not controlled by government. It was not controlled by big corporates. But at the end, it is. So at the end, you had concentration of internet service provider. You also have the carriers, especially with 4G, 5G. There's a dependency to your phone carrier who owns part of the network, and then there's all the filtering that is done by states, and there's all the moderation that goes on. So this kind of idea of freeing up the internet is to add a new layer, which is the Web 3.0, that is fully decentralized, that no single entity in the world can control. And this is where we get back to the blockchain, because ultimately, if you think about the Bitcoin blockchain or the Ethereum blockchain, there's no single physical entity or legal entity that can control Bitcoin or that can control Ethereum. Nobody can shut it down without shutting the entire network. So this is how these freedom fighters, these techno freedom fighters, see the Web 3.0 as having this power of being able to transact without banks, being able to so transact meaning you have the cryptocurrency on one side and the NFT on the other side. So you have that exchange of value that is done, that no government can stop, no intermediary is necessary. No bank can control you. Nobody can shut you down like SWIFT was trying to shut down Russia. So this is how the term 3.0 is being used. So the metaverse definitely sits on top of 3.0 because it has that idea of decentralization in theory, but Decentraland is decentralized. So this is true, this is truly distributed. Axie Infinity is not decentralized at all. Axie Infinity is controlled by one company who owns the game, owns all the assets. They have their own network, and this is why there was a height, and this is why they lost so much cryptocurrency, because they had forked, they had their own side net, and it's not as secure as the main one, and it's not decentralized, and it's controlled by them. And there are only, I think, 10 servers, 10 controllers that are there. Polygon may have the same issue. It's not as big and it's not as decentralized. So Metaverse, in theory, is Web 3.0, but a lot of them are not, and a lot of them are not truly decentralized. So a lot of them are actually fraud in that sense. Where it's like Canada Dry for the olders, it looks like alcohol, but it doesn't taste like alcohol. They use Metaverse, but they sit kind of sideways, and they are not fully decentralized, and they're not fully in Web 3.0 mode. I don't know if you want to add anything, Benoit, or.
No, I think it's a good definition for me. I think Web 3.0 is clearly a marketing word that is defining a full industry. One of the first part that people have seen about that industry are the crypto wallets, like I would say Binance or Kraken or this kind of services for people to actually buy and trade cryptos. It's not more useful than that. It's usually to own some of the crystals and of the cryptos and be able to own it. This one of the services of the Web 3.0 that most of the people had access to since basically 2015. That was a bit more open, but was still difficult at that time. And more today, it's more and more easy to open an account and to actually trade some cryptos. I think metaverses are a new type of services on top of the Web 3.0, basically, that is visible by user. And it's making a lot of noise because it's a new service that can be accessed by the people, finally. So this is a second part that is blowing out of the Web 3.0 technologies that are underlying. So that's how I see it on my side.
I hope we answer your question and we didn't make you more confused. Because it's a complicated topic, and it's muddied a lot by the hyper hype and the marketing that goes around all these topics. So it's really difficult to kind of make it very clear and try to see what's really happening. And this is partially our goal with this conference. see what's really happening, go and experience it ourselves, not just read the last article from the Financial Times and repeat what we read, but really experience it, dig in the technology, which I did, understand the claims, question everything that you can read about it, and especially see how things are evolving. And in the last 3 months, since we studied, we did the first version of this speech in another settings, things have already changed quite a lot. So again, I hope for you, Julien, and everybody else, I hope that was useful, and we helped to clarify a little bit what's currently happening. We can do it again in 3 months, and things will have changed again. So, Violaine, see you again in 3 months, I guess.
Yeah, of course, you'll be invited to update the knowledge of everyone. Go ahead, Benoit.
No, I wanted to say to the people, we have a LinkedIn community. If you want to join, feel free to scan the QR code and join that community to continue the conversation in there. So I'll let you the floor, Violaine.
And Ting also share the link. If you don't want to scan the QR code, you can also click on the link in the conversation. Of course, as you mentioned, it's going really quick, so don't hesitate to keep in touch. And I will just thank you, Benoit and Stéphane. Thank you. It was really interesting.
Thank you too.
And for participants, the next expert talk will be in 1 month from now on July the 13th. So I will put you the link in the conversation if you want to register. It will be also online during lunchtime, free for participants and in English, about digital transformation. And we can make the appointment with Stéphane and Benoit for the updates when it will be relevant to do so.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, guys. Bye.
Welcome.
Have a nice
Thank you.
day.
Bye.